guy. We're going to play a little No Fence Riders. Aditi's going to come on in about 20 minutes, so we may have to pause. We'll finish them with Bernie. But let's get into some No Fence Riders. Bears, Browns edition. For the record, G. Bush, we sent the questions out yesterday. G. Bush sent his answers in at 10:25 this morning, which means we already made the graphics and guessed for G. So, G, if you disagree with what you see on the graphic, we have to, you guys, I'm going to give you a challenge to guess if I guessed for G and or just put him on a side to make it more even, or if G really actually answered that way. So, let's get to the first one. Will Justin Fields, who we just talked about, have more rushing yards on Sunday than any individual Browns running back? Jay, Earl, Tyvis, and Bull said yes. G, myself, and Jason said no.
I like that. Yeah.
You really did say no.
Yeah, no.
I would have guessed that you would have said yes to that.
I don't think they do it. You know why? Because I actually think my game plan, you'll see coming up tomorrow when we do the headlines, I think JoeFlaco and the Browns, they're unstoppable on first drives. They're getting 7 every week. All they need to do is get a stop and go up 14-0, 10-0. All of a sudden,
Can we win a coin toss once in a while, too?
And we'd be taking L's on the coin toss.
Oh, my God. It's unbelievable.
They get the ball at halftime every time. Single time.
I don't know what our coin flip rate is of win, but it seems like every week we're getting the ball to start the game.
I don't think, though, G, that even if the Bears are behind, I still think Justin Fields is going to run.
He's a weapon.
Yeah. Part of the reason I think he'll have more yards than anybody on the Browns is because even if Jerome Ford plays, he's a little banged up.
Sure.
So I feel like this is a game that Pierre Strong get a few more carries. And I just think the carries will be split between their 3 backs this week. So I feel like the Browns, and the Bears are much better against the run than the pass. So I don't see anybody on the Browns having over 50 yards, and I think Justin Fields will have in the 50s.
Hunt did not practice because of the growing, though.
Right, he's banged up too.
So
now, if Ford and Hunt don't play, then maybe Pierre Strong will have a big game.
If you gave Pierre Strong, I'm telling y'all, just listen to your boy one time. You give Pierre Strong 16, 17 carries, he's gonna look good.
I agree, but I looked at this as I think all 3 running backs are going to be there.
Yeah.
I'm being a little optimistic, but,
Stefanski
Kareem Hunt's been on the injury report almost every week, and he's played.
And by the way, Stefanski's the new Belichick when it comes to fantasy.
Nothing.
Right. Don't pick nobody on the Browns, bro. Like, this guy, he spreads it out. He'd be like, let me get the
Browns don't have good fantasy players.
No.
Except for their defense. In my biggest league, my keeper league, I've been using their defense all year. They've got me a lot of points.
Yeah, can't count on them.
The reason I think that Fields will is, to your point, Hunt being hurt, he's one big hit from being sidelined. And so that's not good. Here's his game logs for rushing yards this year, and he did miss 4 games. He had 59 yards, 3 yards, 47, 25, 57, 46, 104, 59, and 58. Here's what stood out to me about that. Justin Fields made a comment early in the season before he got hurt. Why they putting handcuffs on me? Why?
Right.
And he took a lot of flack for that in Chicago in particular.
I remember that.
And I will tell you that to the Bears' credit, they listened to him. They took off the handcuffs. And after he made that comment, he's gone for 57, 46, 104, 59, and 58. His lowest was 46 yards, including a game over 100. I only bring that up because I think the Bears said, you know what? We are kind of taking away Superman's cape. That is what made Justin Fields who he is and what he can do. So let's see what happens. And if he gets hurt, it makes our decision about what we do with our early draft picks next year easier. We know that that's not sustainable. We don't want a running quarterback. We go back to the well.
Yep.
But to his credit, they've won some of those games. He's looked better passing the ball in all of those games. And as a result, I think his comment kind of backed the Bears into making a decision that is, oh, by the way, worked.
What's his path? What is the path to them winning, the Bears winning a game in Cleveland?
Sunday?
Yeah.
Him having a big day running. because I think it opens up the pass.
If he has like a 100-yard rushing day,
we're in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I think that's priority one.
Yards. I got him with 50-something.
And I do too. I mean, just because if you go by the averages, he's averaging more than 50 since the comment. But to me, I think the other thing that jumps out at me when I look at his numbers is his passing grades have gone up. So it's not like, he's stealing from one of his skill sets to put a spotlight on one or the other.
Right.
It's the skill set that he used most to become Justin Fields is now enhancing his other skill set.
It seems to be, yeah.
So I would think that the Bears know that. The Bears are going to continue to say, run where you think you can run. And if he continues to put up those numbers, I don't know if the Browns can have a 60-yard runner just because when was the last time they did?
Yeah. That might be something they try to do.
The Colts game the last time they had a 60?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm asking that question rhetorically, but I think it probably was, Bull. I mean, they just haven't. They haven't had that. They've had. I think against Denver, Ford was averaging like 9 yards a carry. I think he had 12 carries for over 50 yards, but I can't remember if he went over 60.
Well, I'm going to look it up right now.
So I would just think just on the law of averages and the way things have been going the last couple of weeks, and also we talked about this yesterday, the Bears ranked 30th in pass defense. So I'm not going to blame the Browns this week if they're more pass heavy than run.
Jay, I was going, listen, I got
Jerome Ford did have 65 yards against Denver.
That was the game that they just didn't use him enough.
I might, you know what,
right?
McNuggets, listen.
Like
9 for
carries?
65.
I might actually take
9
that
for
back.
65, wow.
I might actually take that back. I got a feeling, I don't know why it popped in my head. I got a feeling that Joe Flacco will mess around and throw this one almost 50 times.
Well, G. Bush, that leads us right to our next one. So let's
Real
get
quick,
to our
Mike,
second question. Yes.
Real quick. Jerome Ford, last 6 games, yards per carry. You ready?
Yeah.
2.2, 6.3, 2.6, 7.2, 2.1, 4.3.
So,
Ping
on and
pong
off.
back and
It's
forth.
up and down.
Yeah.
That does
Go
bring
ahead.
us to our next question. This is a running passing combo for Justin Fields against Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco is 565 yards in 2 games. Will he throw for more yards on Sunday than Justin Fields accumulates total yards? So Joe Flacco passing yards versus Justin Fields total yards. G, I guessed for you on this one. And I'm guessing after hearing what you said, I guessed wrong. But Jay, Earl, Ty, and Bull said yes. Jason, myself, and I guess G would say no, but G, it sounds like you're flipping to the yes side of the fence.
Yeah.
You want to start and tell us why?
I think Kevin Stefanski showed at the end of the game he was excited, or super excited. He had Joe Flacco. Now, mind you, I thought this out to everybody. He's only been practicing 2 weeks. That means he's had a handful of times to talk to Joe Flacco. This is going to embolden Kevin Stefanski. He's going to say this. My best chance to beat these teams coming up is I'm just going to bet that my quarterback's better than yours. I'm just going to bet that I could just come in and throw it on you. Because until you prove me wrong, every week he throws for more yards. This is really what I want to run anyway. I think Kevin Stefanski, when you go down the back, he's going to, and this is crazy to sound like this, he's going to put 4 games after all these injuries and the running and stuff. He's putting this on Joe Flacco's arm. I'm going to let you know that right now.
I got Joe Flacco with 255 yards throwing, and I've got Justin Fields with 237 yards total.
Wow, you
That's
got really specific.
Close. Yeah.
Sure it's not 238.
Not 238, 237, maybe 237 and a half. But
If
that's
he
unofficial.
you can imagine if he hits both those numbers
If
on
he
the
hits
head.
both those numbers on the
Can you
dot,
write those down, Mike?
I'll
I
shave
will
my
write it
head
down.
on the
I'll give you
show.
$100, Bull.
I'll shave
give
my
you
head on the
$100.
show.
Jay's going to shave his
Jay's
head on
gonna
the
shave
show.
his head, Bull. You get $100 from me if you get them.
What I
both
say,
right.
255 and 237, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, not 238.
He
not
had 238, but he took a
237.
loss on a kneel down.
That's right. Big kneel down.
I think Flacco's going for 300.
I do too.
I just think the Bears' pass defense is that porous. And he's on a roll.
This is the most optimistic. I heard Jay, and I've been here 3 years. I ain't never heard him call out of 3 bills.
Well, we haven't had a guy that I thought could do it.
He did. You said that with your chest. 3 bills.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to be surprised if he doesn't throw for 300. Look, I mean, the haze in the barn as to what they're going to do with Joe. The last 2 games, they've thrown it 65% of the time. So if they do that again, and I expect they will, I just think he's been accurate enough, picking the right receivers enough, finding holes, and putting them in the right play. I think he's done that a number of times. And so I expect him to get 300. I think a good game for Fields passing is 200 yards. And even if he gets that and he averages his rushing yards, which is about 50 a game since he started running it more, I got him at 2.5. And Flacco's got 300.
Beautiful. All right, we're going to go to the next one here. Let's go to the battle of receivers, the battle of number twos. Will DJ Moore have more receiving yards than Amari Cooper? Bull, Jason, myself said yes. J. Earl, Ty, and G said no.
Why did you call them number 2 receivers?
Yeah.
They both wear number 2.
Oh,
like they physically wear number 2 on their jerseys. They're number 1 receivers on the team.
I thought you were saying the team's number 2 receivers. I'm like, what? Who's better than Moore? Who's better than Cooper?
No, they both wear number 2.
Okay.
I should have clarified.
So they're both the proverbial number 1s and wear number 2.
Correct.
Yeah.
But why did he say yes?
I just think Joe Flacco, Amari Cooper hasn't been at his best recently. He's had some drops. He's dealing with some injuries. And Joe Flacco obviously has some chemistry with Elijah Moore, so he looks for him a lot.
He does.
He's also looked for David Njoku a lot. Whereas I think in the passing game, Justin Fields really focuses on DJ Moore. Some with Cole Kmet, but I think Flacco's more into spreading it around right now. And I think Cooper will have a fine game, but I think DJ Moore, like I got Justin Fields with like 190 passing yards, and I wouldn't be surprised if 100 of them were to DJ Moore.
Wow, big game for Moore then.
I think Amari Cooper's playing injured. You could tell like he's a man of very few words. I think he's battling internally with it. Just came off the concussion, but if you just look at it, if Amari Cooper just catches the football that are thrown to him, he's around 80, 90 yards a game. If he just catches the football, which he's been probably a guy during his career who's done a good job catching the football.
Recently, he's had the dropsies.
And the fumble was really concerning.
Yeah.
And it's because it just seems like
that was weird, though, because it came at the perfect time. He was changing hands, and it was just one of those fluky things.
But he always seems to have that receiver knack for just your body. You're not thinking about it. Your body just does it. You just feel the presence, right? You feel the pressure, and you say, okay, instead of switching arms, I'm gonna handle with 2 or be by the sidelines. It just seems like he hasn't had that instinctual, catching the football and moving.
That's fair. I think he's hearing steps. I think a couple of weeks ago when he took the big hit, then the next week he played, and the ball hit him right in the hands, and he dropped it because he felt like he knew the defender was closing in on him. I think I call it PTSD for a receiver.
Yeah.
When after they take that big hit over the middle or that serious shot that rings their bell, they start to hear things and they start to see ghosts. And I think he's gone through a little bit of that. But for me to accurately answer this question, I'd have to be able to answer a question that I don't have the answer to, and that's Denzel Ward's availability. If Denzel Ward plays, then I don't think that DJ Moore has a huge day. Who has a huge day when Denzel's on him?
Nobody.
The problem is I don't know if he's going to play, and
Chicago's
because of that, I just can't answer this.
Now, here's how I feel about this too. Denzel Ward. Hey, listen, if Denzel Ward is out there, he ain't getting no yards. But if they put Martin Emerson on him, he ain't get no yards either.
You have that high
regard. It's not like
regard.
they're shutting out receivers every week.
I mean, Martin Emerson played one of the best games I've seen a corner play in a long time. Granted, they don't got superstars out there. But this guy, listen, he was in run support. He had 3 or 4 pass breakups, like deep balls. He then got 2 interceptions. And it was not like it wasn't Calvin Ridley and Trevor Lawrence.
Right.
We're going to talk about it tomorrow, but Jalen Johnson, the Browns cornerback, is actually the number 1 graded PFF cornerback in the entire
Bears.
NFL.
Yeah, Bears.
The Bears, excuse me. Denzel Ward and Emerson, who both have played phenomenal this season, have graded out in the PFF for their season grades 70 and 68. Johnson's a 91. So we'll see what that actually translates to on the field. That's going to be something we talk about tomorrow. Next fence rider question. G, I guessed for you just for the sake of it not being unanimous. I don't think this is an accurate guess. I hope I'm wrong. But will Myles Garrett snap his 3-game sackless skid versus Chicago? G, because you didn't answer, I made you sit on the wrong side of the fence here with a no. Everyone else said yes. That's punishment for not answering sooner.
I mean, I think
Because you know he would not answer that way.
yeah, could I see it happening? Sure.
course.
If they continue to let him hold him, if they continue to let them chip and hold and grab and stuff. But I think Myles Garrett, I'm just not going on the record. It's not like an earth-shattering thing. He's going to get a couple holding penalties.
I think Miles struggles at the acting. He's got to be a better actor.
Yeah, we saw that
gotta
that melt reel. You could tell. I'm like, his flops are not very good.
No, he's got the guys who get the call, the hands go up, and they do a spin around.
Yeah.
You got to do the spin around
He
with
did
the
that
hands
a couple
up.
times, but I thought it was late.
Yeah, he's doing it
You know,
right.
he does it when he knows the play is over, and then he does it.
Right. It's too late.
You're not going to get the flag then.
As soon as it happens, hands up.
Yep.
Spin, and you got to do the big guy spin around.
the hands up spin around is the same thing that your
Pirouette.
The same hands up spin around is what your mom do when you doing school clothes. Hands up, spin around.
Yeah, that's right.
You got enough room in this?
Yeah, right.
You're like, yeah, mom. Yeah.
I think that Myles Garrett is very smart. By the way, surprisingly, I haven't heard about it. He wasn't fined.
I didn't hear nothing about
Nor was Andy Reid
Interesting.
or Patrick Mahomes. And here's my takeaway from that, and I'm glad we kind of stumbled into that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
When the league knows it's wrong, it's less likely to fine a guy. Now, in the cases of Patrick Mahomes,
They weren't wrong.
it's right there. Now, I watched a great discussion on the NFL Network this week about that call. Somebody went through every play of that game. He lined up offsides
Like 5 times.
4 times. 4 times. One was even more egregious. They also pointed out, and this was something that I wondered when I saw that freeze frame of the blue line, and referees will not stop the play and move the ball if the center moves the ball backwards. There's no advantage to that. It does change the actual line of scrimmage, but they'll let that go. And they talked about this in the conversation on the NFL Network. He clearly picks that ball up and moves it backwards. That changes the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, who
Not
got
to
called
the
for
wide
that?
receiver. Now, they also showed they had a great angle, and you guys probably saw this. They had a great angle down the line of Tony doing this and never getting confirmation from the official. He did that 9 times in the game, and at no point did he ever look at the official long enough to get the thumbs up.
Right.
So in other words,
You can't just signal.
no, you can't.
Yeah.
It's like the hitter in baseball calling for time and stepping
Right.
out.
No.
You call for time, then you get time.
That's right. If you don't,
And
you're out of luck.
The part of the conversation I most enjoyed was the part that I was wondering about, and you'll know this from when you play. The letter of the law in baseball is the armpits to the knees.
Right.
Well, anybody that watches baseball knows that's not the strike zone.
No.
Right.
And they made the comparison in that instance of him lining up on the line of scrimmage. There were guys that have played in the league that were part of this discussion that said that happens 10 times a game for every team. It's not called. The fact that they decided to call it in that moment, everybody on the panel thought was wildly egregious. The NFL was overreaching. It would be like that, you hear this all the time. There's holding on every play,
Right.
if you find it.
Now, I would agree, and I agree with them because usually what the league does is they go out after it's over and say, look, these guys been doing this all year. It's getting egregious. And then they come in the preseason and say, there's an emphasis on lining up correctly.
Yes.
We will be calling that.
But you can't change it
But you can't-
midstream.
you can't
I know,
do
but
it
why
now.
is he lining up off sides every play? I don't
So
understand.
they talked about that.
Because of the ball being moved
The ball
back?
kept being moved back, and the
Yeah.
officials were letting that go.
Yeah.
Now, and it wasn't that much. It looked like it was about 4 inches that
They
he
got
moved the ball back.
Ethan Poaches on that earlier this year.
Well, for moving the ball forward.
Right,
They
moving
will
it.
stop the play and flag it in that instance. But in the panel discussion, they said that happens all the time. It's basically a center coming up to the ball and then realizing it's not in the proper position, but now he can't move his feet.
Right.
So he hunches the ball backwards. They're not going to call that.
Right.
It'd be like shooting a free throw from the 3-point line.
You want to back up on a free throw? Go ahead. But
real
don't
quick, 'cause
step
we have-
over the line.
We have a Didi, and you guys didn't answer. Jay, will Myles Garrett snap his skidless sack streak? Yes or no?
He will get a sack, and my roundabout way of getting to that was I think the reason that Garrett, Mahomes, and Reed didn't get fined is because I think the league is aware that they've not been great in these instances, so they chose not to fine them. But it was brilliant for Myles Garrett to say it because now every official that
Oh, I was
watches
looking
him
at
this
it.
year
Yeah.
is going to be looking for the hold.
Right.
Are
Yes
we
or no?
missing it?
Yeah.
Yes or no for
100%.
you, Bull? You said yes? Just for the record, yes, Miles gets a sack?
Yes.